Alright, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the first video of the channel. So, I guess to give you a little brief introduction of who I am and what this is about. My name is Taylor. I'm a golfer, obviously. This year, we're trying to qualify for World Long Drive Finals. But at the same time, I don't want to lose my traditional golf game. So, I guess we'll be documenting the journey with the long drive and also just your normal golf. So today we're going to be going to the driving range and we're going to be going over the do's and the don'ts of the driving range, because a lot of people out there are not utilizing their time at the range properly. Now, in my opinion, you should be spending more time at the range and the chipping green, the putting green, and all that, more than on the golf course. Obviously, there's nothing to replicate what it's like to be out there. You know, all your lies are going to be different all the time. But if you're struggling out there, you can't break 100, you can't break 90, anything like that, you should be spending a lot of time on the range, working on fundamentals, ball striking. There's so many different things that if you're a better ball striker and that's not something you're concerned about, maybe you should be working on shot shapes, certain ball flights. There's so many things you could work on and what you could properly do, and most people aren't doing that. Most people are just going to the range, hitting balls fast as they can, firing them out there, just hitting driver from the first ball to the last ball. And me personally, I rarely hit my driver at all at the range, at least for when I'm working on my golf game. Obviously, if I'm practicing my long drive, swing speed, ball speed, all that, we're only hitting driver. But yeah, so today it's pretty simple, the do's and the don'ts of the range, and we'll be going over that. But first, the big don't, which I already just discussed, is don't just start firing off balls, one after another. Because what happens is, if you don't have a specific target out there and you're just firing off balls, yeah, you hit say you pipe one out there and it stays within the 300 yard wide range of the driving range, you're going to be convinced that you just hit a great ball because it landed in the middle. But were you aiming there? Was that your intent? Who knows? All that does is instill bad habits. Alright, so I forgot my tripod. So we're going to try to balance the phone and the golf bag here. Alright, I had to voice this over because of all the traffic. But basically, all I'm doing here is hitting a couple balls one-handed to just feel the release point a little better. Alright, so I also want to show you something here that you may not know. So these lines on the golf ball are single piece, the 3-piece ball. Now obviously this ball is going to go much shorter, it's just not going to be as good. So whenever you're at the range, just keep that in mind. 3 lines, 3-piece, 1 line, single piece. Junk ball, decent range ball. I'm just going to start off pretty simple. Gonna hit a couple 56 degree shots. I'm gonna start off with basically little pitch shots, and we'll just progress a little bit from there until we're close to 3/4 to a full swing.
Now really all that I'm thinking about here is each swing to just add a touch more power and a touch more speed until I'm pretty close to a full swing, or at least a full swing for a 56 degree.
Alright, adjusted the camera a little bit there. Hopefully everything was in frame there. I don't have my tripod or anything with me, so it's hard to kind of see what's going on. Alright, so now that we warmed up with our wedge, now we're actually gonna go to the 9-iron here. Now, that red flag is about 175 yards out. I've hit here a bunch, so I know that. And first, we're just gonna hit straight shots to it. We're just gonna Nothing crazy, no draw, no fade, nothing like that. We're just gonna hit standard shots out there. Alright, so now we got 2 balls down. Both 3-line balls, so they're the better of the balls. We're gonna hit 1 draw, 1 fade.
So the only reason I'm only hitting one of each shot shape here is basically just to check and make sure my swing is on point. If I was struggling with that, I'd probably reset, and I'd probably do a totally different range session on shot shaping.
A couple 5-iron shots here now, and then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes of the range.
So now that I'm happy with my shot shapes, my overall swing in general, I'm gonna hit my longer clubs, obviously my longer irons here, then my hybrid and 3-wood, and then I will move on to the drills that I do at the range. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm basically playing an entire golf hole in my head. So I'm imagining a par 4, I pick a target out there. For this shot, it's a yellow flag that's straight out ahead, it's up on a mound. So I'm going to imagine the width of the mound is the fairway. So that'll be my first target. From there, I'm going to pick the 175 flag out on the range, and that will be my approach shot onto the green to try and replicate the best that I can an actual golf hole.
Our next shot's gonna be that orange flag, which is about 175 yards out. Clean up my club. That's our target.
So now we're going to be doing the same thing, except we're going to be changing up the distances. So clearly now you can see I'm teeing off with a 3-wood, and we're going to be approaching with a 56 degree, imagining that now, since we hit a longer club, we have a shorter distance to the hole.
So that was a wrap on the range. I'm sure you're gonna hear some voiceover because unfortunately that range is really close to the street and there's a lot of traffic, so I'm probably gonna voice this one over. I'm sure you already heard that, but yeah, so basically what I like to do at the range is I hit my shorter clubs, just loosen up. Once I'm feeling pretty comfortable, then I like to imagine, I try to come up with a hole in my head, whatever it may be. Maybe you want to hit a par 5, so you're going to hit, driver, or maybe a layup, hit a hybrid 3-wood, whatever. Then your second shot, pick a point, and then your approach. So basically, yeah, so I was, like what you saw, you would play it up. So yeah, so basically that's the best way I like to do it. You hit your tee shot. Now you pick your confines of the fairway, your left and your right, and where your main target is. And then from there, now you pick your second shot in, and you can pick any point in the range you want. You can have a preset distance. If you say you want to hit a 420 yard par 4, Now, the only thing that's tough about that is not knowing exactly the distance your ball goes. So what I like to do is just hit one out there, make sure it's within where I want it to be, and then I pick a flag for my approach shot. And that way, you know, you're simulating the real golf game as much as you can. Now, if you were working on something different, which we'll get into in maybe the next video, you know, if you're just working on swing changes, that probably wouldn't come into play that much because all you're going to be focusing on is your swing changes. Now, what I would recommend is pick one or the other. Don't try to overdo it at the range in one session. If you're going, you know, for just practice, you're happy with your club striking, then do the route that we just went over, which is hit with intent, give yourself a real game plan. If you're trying to work on swing changes and ball striking, then your whole session should be that. But that's pretty much it. A nice, quick, easy first video to introduce you guys to myself, or myself to you guys. I hope you liked it, and we'll have another one coming and many, many more.